Back. Today we're going to continue learning about inequalities. Before we start, let's just go ahead and go over what we went over yesterday. We learned the difference yesterday between equations and inequalities. Equations, as you all know, they compare two values or expressions to one another. They use the equal sign because the values or expressions are equal to one another. So equations show that two values or expressions are equal to one another by using the equal sign. Inequalities. Those also compare two values or expressions. However, they do not use the equal sign because the values or expressions are not equal to one another. So they both compare values or expressions, but one uses the equal sign, one doesn't. And one's values are equal to one another and the others aren't. So the different inequalities are different than equations because the two values or expressions are not equal to one another. And so since they're not equal to one another, we have to use different symbols. So what is an inequality? Well, it's a mathematical expression that uses different symbols to show the relationship between two values or expressions as not equal. Again, it's a mathematical expression that uses different symbols other than the equal sign to show or to state that two values or two expressions are not equal to one another. So let's practice. Yesterday we had a little bit of practice. The first one, 7 equals 7. What is it? It's an equation. Why? Because the values are equal to one another and it uses the equal sign. Next, 89 does not equal 72. That's an inequality because the values are not equal to one another and it does not use the equal sign. This is what we refer to as the does not equal sign, or the unequal to. This is the sign that we learned about yesterday that shows up in inequality. So when this sign is present, you know an inequality exists. Continuing, 18 does not equal 7. What is it? Well, it's an inequality because the values are not equal to one another. It uses the does not equal sign and doesn't use the equal sign. 12 equals 12 is an equation because both values are equal to one another. It uses the equal sign. Again, this one, 173 equals 173. Equation, the values are equal to one another. It uses the equal sign. Equal equation. Kind of the EQUA is in both equation and equal. So when the things are equal to one another, you use an equation. Finally, 242 does not equal 342. That is an inequality because the values aren't equal to one another and it doesn't use the equal sign. It uses the unequal sign or does not equal sign.